You don't have a drink today. Thank God. This is going to be a good day. Okay, ready? What are you looking at? What are you looking at over there? Like stressing out? What about my messy office? Don't leave Frosh out loud. All right, ready? Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Spilling the Chai Tea with Britt and...
I'm back.
We're never going to get that right. It's fine. I'm going to change up the intro.
Okay.
I'm going to change it up, and I'm just going to say the words for you. Britt and Joel. That's it. That's how it's going to be. It's going to be boring now. Oh my goodness. Have you missed me? Have you missed sitting here with me? That's rude. You've not missed me?
Yeah, I miss Raja. It's been a while since Raja's been around. Everybody say hi to Raja. Don't flick Raja.
You know what? This is ridiculous. He's an elephant. He's a pretend elephant. Okay? MJ did try to take him the other day, and I saw that he had like a little like thing around his neck. And I was like, does he have a noose around his neck? And I realized it was a leash.
Oh, yeah.
She was trying to walk him around the house.
Makes sense.
I got worried for a second. I was like, what is going on?
That makes sense.
Am I boring you? Did you just yawn?
No.
You're not starting this well.
What are you talking
You
about?
just yawned while I'm talking.
I didn't yawn.
Yes, you did. It was like, I was like, you covered up a yawn. That's worse. You lied. You're a lying yawner.
No, I was breathing. That's how I breathe.
No, you breathe like that. You requires that much facial movement to breathe.
Everybody breathes in their own way.
I've never seen you breathe like that in the last 16 years.
Oh, it's a long time.
Well, this does bridge us into our topic today, even though Joel is ridiculous. We've been married for a long time. I did have to use the calculator this morning because I was like, is it 15 or 16? I'm not going to lie.
We're going on 16.
We're 16 years married.
We are 16 going on 17?
Yes.
That's a long time, dude.
So see, I'm glad we both don't know. Because
That's a long time.
I feel like we were so good at first. Like we knew like every single part. We knew every year what we were coming into. And then now it's like 15, 16, 17, 20.
Yeah. 20 is a big one.
20 is going to be a huge one. I want a new ring for 20. I want a new ring for 20.
Cool.
In a cruise. Yeah.
Pile it on.
I'm going to do it. Anyways, we've been married for a long time. But when we got married, I was 20. Mm-hmm. You were 23. Mm-hmm. And it's wild. Like, I didn't, like, so the church that we were in at the time, I feel like a lot of our friends were getting married young.
Yeah, it was like a very common thing.
Yeah, like, it wasn't crazy. Like, a lot of my cousins got married young. Your cousins didn't get married as young.
Not really.
Yeah, I feel like yours are a little bit older. But I don't know. It didn't feel crazy. I think we're both the oldest in our family. So I think that did play a role. I think we were both so mature for our age, too.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I don't think we didn't feel like immature. Like, we were naive for sure, but not like, I don't feel like we were ever immature at that age.
That's a good distinction.
Right? Because we were naive as far as like, we hadn't lived much life.
Yeah.
You know, you had lived more, but.
3 years.
I mean, but you had done like the college thing. Like, you had left, first of all.
Wow.
You are old. No, but you went on to like the college thing.
Yeah.
Like, you lived at college and you did all those things. And I really hadn't done a lot of that.
Yeah.
You know? And so when we got married, some of our friends did too. And I don't know, like we've lived, 16 years is a long time, you know, like 16 years of learning each other, learning ourselves. So I thought it would be fun today to talk a little bit on how have we stayed married for 16 years?
That's a good one. That's a good
That's
topic.
a good one, right?
Yeah.
Right? So thinking back, and I want us to look at like back then, like our 20 and 23-year-old selves to now. And like, what have we done or what did we do wrong that we learned from that has helped us stay married this long?
Yeah. I mean, you don't, how do we...
Here, I'll go first.
Yeah, you go
because
first.
I have a good one.
Okay.
I would say one.
If I don't think it's a good one, can I say, oh, I don't think that's a good one? Or do I have to just
You have to
like,
lie.
oh.
That's part of this is you just be like, yeah, that's good. That's
So
good.
it's
Be
the
encouraging.
bonus, how to stay.
I'm always
married
right.
for a long
That's
time.
the truth. Anyways, no, I think one of them that's just helped me personally is you've always given me room to be myself.
Yeah.
And I think that when you get married super, and first of all, we're not recommending go get married at 19, go get married at 20. Like, we're just saying, I think the age everyone should get married is so different because there's so many factors that play into it.
Yeah, I think in general, these are principles, not policy.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I think, again, there are some people that I meet that are 25. And I'm like, oof, you're not ready yet. Like, you still have like some soul searching to do, right? But regardless, I think for me, like, I got married at 20. I was very young. I really didn't know who I was yet. And so for me, like, you've always given me room to grow into myself.
Yeah.
Because like the person that I was when we got married is not the person I am today.
Yeah.
Right. And like, I think that what happens a lot of times is that people get so fixated on that one person, on that one, like how you think, what you do, how you do it, like all these different pieces. And like they can't let go. So if you start to change and to shift, like, oh my God, what's happening? This is weird. So I'm uncomfortable. When in reality, like I was growing into myself, and I'll probably be different in 10 years than I am today.
Yeah.
That's what it is. And you've always given me room to grow, to learn, to make mistakes. And yeah, I don't see every couple doing that.
Yeah, I think there's a tension too between yeah, you're growing on your own and you're becoming who you are, but then there's also this sense of we're also growing together in that process. And I think that both sides of it can become extremes, where on the one end you have somebody who's just growing by themselves and you're leaving the room for them to grow by themselves, but then they grow almost in isolation, disconnected from everything else. And then all of a sudden it's like, wait, I never wanted to be in this situation in the first place, versus looking at it and saying, hey, no, like I am an individual, and my individuality like is one of the best expressions in the context of this marriage, in the context of this other like relationship that I'm in. And so there's this responsibility to develop individually, but then also like stay connected to this other person and to grow together in those ways. And so I do think it's a tension to be managed, but I think a lot of times it's extremes. It's either like total independence altogether, then they just like are like build themselves up and have want nothing to do with each other, or there's like no independence. And so all of a sudden you
make that codependence.
You build this codependency thing. It's like, I'm okay if you're okay, then I'm okay, but am I okay? And are you okay? You know, it's like nobody's okay that in that situation. And so you actually create a mess for yourself. So I do think that's a huge one.
I always said I looked at our relationship as like a triangle. So like up top of that triangle, you have, you know, us together. And then down below, we have us as individuals. And I think that like exactly like you said, one doesn't work without the other.
Right.
Right. And so it's always this tension, this pull of you want to celebrate my like identity journey. You want to celebrate where I'm at and what I'm doing. You may not agree with it all the time. And that's okay. Because again, sometimes it's not for you. Sometimes
like casseroles.
That's so rude. You love casseroles.
Never.
I'm gonna force you. This one we're gonna talk about. This is like a little caveat. You need to love casseroles.
I don't need to love anything.
It's my culture.
Remember that whole like independent like be.
Yeah, but not about this one. Anyways, no, but I think it's a very fine balance that people really struggle to find. And part of it for me is like when we got married, I didn't know who I was, right? And so I think I went more into codependence. And then you were like trying to grow and trying to work on your independence. I'm like, oh my God, like we're terrible if you want more independent time, right? And so part of it's like you have to love yourself and you have to love your partner, right? And so did you just stifle a yawn?
No.
That's stifling a yawn.
That's not.
I can't believe you. Okay, cool. What's yours? Let's hear your wisdom today.
Honestly, the biggest one I think for us is laughter.
Yeah.
Like, I just think that we're just friends.
I'm
like,
so
we're best friends.
Too.
So, like, when I do share, like, my favorite clips to share of this on my social is our bantering. The banter. And the reason why is, like, it's such an honest glimpse into our marriage, like, into our relationship, into our friendship. And it is genuinely who we are. It's genuinely like if you were to come and just hang out and have dinner with us or just see behind the scenes, like if you were to ask Liam, Levi, and Luke and MJ, like how do your mom and dad like interact with each other? It'd be like, oh my gosh, they're always like poking at each other. They're laughing. They're always messing with us. Like, you know, like you've got this entire thing that's kind of happening. And so I would say that laughter is such a massive component, at least for us.
Like our laugh fights.
Yeah.
I don't love those. They make me angry with you. Yeah. Joel has this thing that he gets uncomfortable. And when Joel is uncomfortable,
I laugh.
He has this weird thing and he laughs. He's the one that would probably laugh at a funeral. He'd probably laugh while...
I probably wouldn't laugh at a funeral. I wouldn't laugh at a funeral.
If you got uncomfortable and you thought to yourself, don't laugh, this is a serious time, you'd start laughing because you got uncomfortable. Yeah. Liam and Levi do that too. Actually, and Lucas. When they get in trouble, sometimes they start laughing and it makes me just want to like throw a shoe at them. But they're like, I'm trying.
It's a challenge.
But there are times though like, where we'll be like in a fight and then Joel will like start laughing because he realizes like this is so not serious. Like we should just be over this. And then I get mad and I get so angry that I just start laughing and then we get over it.
Yeah.
It is nice. But no, I think that the laughter thing kind of bridges into like the friendship piece. Because that was what I was going to say. It's like we're friends.
Mm-hmm.
right? Like I tell you everything, not just because you're my partner and I want to like be transparent, but because like I look forward to you coming home and me telling you all like the intimate pieces of my day and what I'm excited about, what I'm struggling with and having a hard time with.
Yeah.
You know, like I think that, I don't know, we've built and like worked hard on that friendship.
Yeah.
Right? Like we can
100%.
go on a trip together and we're not like annoyed with each other. That's rude. You know what? You're rude.
No, actually, that bridges the next one. The reason why we don't have to, like, we are not annoyed with each other, I think, is because we're also, it's because we're also aware of, like, the intricacies of each person. And it kind of goes to, like, that whole, like, like you said, I let you, like, develop and be the individual that you are. I think part of this, too, is just, like, the, like, you know when I need alone time. Like, you know when it's like, oh, man, I'm overwhelmed. And part of it is the nature of my work and what I do. And, you know, it's just, like, constantly around people, having to talk, having to, like, you know. And so it's, like, for me, that is a big part of it. So when we're on a trip, like, there's not the pressure. I often don't feel the pressure, like, we have to be together 24 hours, 24/7 consistently. And, in fact, that would drive you crazy, you know.
Oh, like it.
And so there's part of that, too, that I think is a big part of just our ability to be friends and to like
that's such a good point.
There's honesty in terms of what our kind of personal needs are, you know.
Well, and I remember back when we first got married, we were at the house my parents were in, and I remember like we were at school we were working in full time and in school full time, so we would come home sometimes like at 10 o'clock and we would go to bed super late back then. Like I would go to bed super late. Which is funny because now I like go to bed at 9 o'clock. But we would like stay up late, but we would have like at first it was almost like forced time together.
Yeah.
Whereas like I was exhausted from a full day, you were exhausted from a full day, and then we would start bickering and fighting. And then finally like something switched, and I don't remember if we talked about it or if it just kind of naturally happened. But we started getting into a point in a rhythm where you would get home, I would get home, and we would spend alone time until dinner was ready. And then when dinner was ready, we would get together and we'd spend the rest of the night together. But we would always have like a good hour or 2 hours in between.
Kind of like a decompressed time.
It was. And it was really exciting. I would go take a bath, which is like, that's what my whole like bath obsession started. I'd take a bath. Usually you'd go watch a show or something and we just wouldn't talk for like an hour. And at first I was like, is this okay? I'm like, no, it sets us up better for later.
Exactly.
And we've still done that.
Yeah.
And so, no, but that's where it's like you give each other freedom to have your own personal needs.
Yeah.
So, and then the next one for me, and this was a really big one that I had to really learn, is that we have our own personal relationships with our family. And when I say that, I mean, when we talk through things like boundaries, when we've had issues maybe with our family members, or if we have, you know, been super close to certain family members, or trying to navigate like my relationship with your family or you navigating your relationship with my family. It kind of goes back to that triangle where it's like we have a relationship as like the group of us, right? Like say like my parents, for instance, like me, you, and my parents, we have that relationship together. But I also have my personal relationship with my parents, and you have a personal relationship with my parents. And I have had seasons where I'm super close to my mom, right? And that doesn't mean that you also have to be her best friend and go tell her everything. And we might also have seasons with family members where like, things are hard and it's like there's more like difficulty, or there's like, you know, different pieces that we're battling and walking through, and I can't force you to go be closer or force you to have this different relationship.
Yeah.
And so I think part of it for me is we give each other that space. And I've also had to realize that like you have your own relationship with your family and I can't go decide your boundaries with them.
Yeah.
And I remember in the beginning I was like, well, your relationship should be like my relationship with my parents. So like with your parents, it should look like mine and my parents. And I had to like finally, I remember I was talking to Steve about it, to our old pastor. And I remember he had challenged me on that. He's like, well, why would it have to look the same? I was like, I don't know, just doesn't it?
Yeah.
You know? And so I think that's helped us because I've had certain boundaries with your family that wasn't yours, but you gave me the freedom to have that because that was my relationship with them.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? You understand what I'm saying? How do you think that that works for different people when it's like they're maybe putting pressure on their partners to have that same relationship?
I mean, I think that what the motivation underneath it is like this sense of stability. Like it's comfort. Yeah. You know, it's comfortable to know that, oh, your relationship is my relationship is your relationship, so we can all just be equal in this, and we know what to expect. And that's not reality, you know. And
I think you said that was equal.
Yeah.
Yeah. You always challenge me on that one because I'm a really big like fairness, like 50-50, and you always
life's
challenge
not
me.
fair.
Yeah. I grew up with a mom that like if one person was grounded, nobody else could have that because it would make them feel bad. So like it was very much like about that concept of like fairness. Now obviously that is like a really like not great and kind of unhealthy example. But I think that a lot of us have that idea, right? Like, and again, like it's our own personal relationships. Like we have our group relationship where things affect each other, right? Like if I did something like that would affect both of us, we talk about it. But if it's something that affects me personally, like, you know, I think that's important. I don't see a lot of other couples have that.
Yeah.
You know, and I had, again, like that was something for me that like, we're both really close to our families. And I just assumed in the beginning it would look the exact same.
Yeah.
You know? I think another one for me is that...
Wait, it's my turn. You just went.
Well, you kind of went too, so it's my turn now.
No, I didn't go.
You basically went
You
two.
asked me like a follow-up question to your question.
Yeah, that kind of is yours.
No.
Okay, fine. What's yours?
Okay, so mine is, I think this is a really, really big one. And honestly, I don't think it happened until probably the last like 7 years, 8 years, is like gut level honesty.
Oh my God, that was going to be mine. You stole it.
No, I didn't. It was my turn.
Literally, I was just going to say that.
You could have picked that as the first one. You didn't. You waited. That's your fault. I would say like a certain level of gut level honesty where I think when we first got married, there's this like, oh my gosh, is she going to even love me? Is she going to even care about me? She's like, and there is a certain level of risk with that. But I think that we found that the more, and it does feel like there's probably some progress that has to be made in terms of like emotional just trust that is developed, but also the byproduct of getting to that place of trust is often this honesty.
It's almost like the chicken and the egg. Like, where does it start?
Which one start? Yeah. And so there's this tension of like, okay, as time goes on, it's just like, I don't have to be pretentious with you anymore. Like if I feel something or I'm thinking something or I want something, like I'm just going to tell you, you know, the worst thing that's going to happen is you're going to say no. Like you usually do. And I'm joking. That's passive aggressive.
I felt it, but I was like, yeah, I do say that.
Yeah. So, but I mean, but at least at that point, everything's on the open.
No,
you don't have to like, there's like, I think that pretension. I think that's like, if we talk about like all the good things, right? Yeah. I think the negative thing is the pretension, trying to present yourself as someone or something, or have these desires or have these longings that are actually not true to who you are.
Well,
and if you live like that
though.
for a long time, not only are you going to be exhausted, but it's going to just end in like utter failure.
Well, but I think that like there's so many, and I love this one because I do think it was a game changer in our relationship, because I think that it was safeguarding. Like we've both been hurt in our lives, right? Like we've been in relationships with either family or with like other partners where it's like we were hurt.
Yeah. And
so that creates this safeguarding because like you said in the beginning, it's like, well, they still love me.
Yep.
Right. And so I think though that I don't want you to love this idea of me that's not me, this person that I create for you to love, because you won't.
Yeah.
That's not sustainable for me to continue that forever. So I think that we kind of had a breaking point where it was like we either need to be honest or this isn't going to work.
Yeah.
But I think for me, and this might be a lot, but I want us to be super honest in this podcast, is the fact that you need to talk about everything. And you have like your desires and all that. Like you should be talking about your emotional needs. You should be talking about your sexual needs. You should be talking about like every single part of yourself. If you're worried to talk about something, that's probably a red flag.
Right.
Right? Like, I mean, I think even for us, like, I mean, a lot of couples don't talk about sex, which is crazy to me.
Yeah.
Because it's part of your relationship and it's how you grow and it's how you learn to love each other well. You know, and like your emotional needs and all these things. And I would just rather, like, I want to go tell my best friend everything, like every single part. Why would I not be able to do that same thing
about
with
sex? You tell your best friend everything about sex?
Oh yeah, girls talk about sex all the time. Huh. Do boys not do that?
Not really.
You've never talked about like sex with your partner, your like best friend?
No.
Is that weird to you?
Yeah.
Is it?
I mean, I think so. I don't know.
That's okay. But I think that like me and my best friend, we would talk about everything. And like we would get a glass of wine, we would sit and talk about everything. But I think it's because like it's this relational component. Like, and I don't know if I don't know, because I think there is like a taboo when it comes to guys talking about it. But did that not help our relationship when we started talking about sex?
100%. It made everything better.
Right?
Yeah.
Because again, like it gets back into like, what do you like? What do you not like? And like, it's...
Okay, you gotta tell the story about the toe. The toe thing.
The toe thing.
The toe thing.
What toe thing?
Listen, for maybe
I was like, what?
Maybe 8 years. Maybe 8 years.
Yeah.
8 to 9 years. Like, get into bed, cuddle, all of that. And I always love to rub my feet on her feet.
Wait, hold on. It's like the pictures of the memes where it's like when you, like, we're not cuddlers because he gets really hot when he sleeps and I just get claustrophobic. So like when we might like start by like, give us your little hug, like hugging for a second. And then we go to our own sides of the bed, but we want to still be connected. So we would touch feet.
Yeah.
But the problem.
You tell the problem. I have no problem. I was fine.
So
until
if you just,
all of a sudden I get
like
blindsided 9 years into our marriage.
If you just go like this with your feet. Like, I just want to touch him. I just want to feel connected to him. Like, I just want to be connected at night. That's all I want, right? So we would like touch feet. And then like he does this thing where I don't know if it's because like he's getting antsy or what it is, but he starts like rubbing his feet on me. I started making this man get pedicures because your toenails are sharp. So he would sit there. You brought this up. He would sit there and I get scratched and gouged in the leg or the foot by your toenail.
Okay, but my question is like, so to the point, why did it take 9 years for you? Like, how much money did we waste on Band-Aids? And
I was like, if I just sit still, he'll stop. And if I just don't.
No, I've got ADD. I do that like.
But I didn't know that. I just thought like he was just getting antsy. No, he has ADD. So he just starts to like move and fidget. And that would happen. So now he wears socks to bed so that I don't get gouged in the foot by your toenail.
Actually, I don't wear socks to bed. I never wear socks to bed.
I feel like usually you do.
No, never.
I think you're wrong. We're going to pay attention to this. I'm going to start tracking it. You do. Anyways, I make him get pedicures. And also, like, I tell him the second he starts fidgeting, I will literally tell him, knock it off, or I'll kick him.
It's usually the second one.
Usually kick him. No, but it's so funny because I didn't know how to say something about it. And then finally, like, I think actually when I got pregnant, it started to bother me 10 times more.
She like yelled at me like normal.
I was like, okay, I'm done. I can't handle this anymore.
No, literally what she said is, I can't do this anymore. What the heck? What do you mean?
I'm pretty sure I was bleeding at that point. You'd gouge my foot again.
No, please. You're so full of it.
No, I don't like it. No, but I don't know. I think the thing for me that has been sad, I will say, is that in the last 16 years, a lot of the friends that we got married around the same time as them aren't together anymore. Mm-hmm. And so it's just made me wonder, like, we're obviously not perfect. Like, we still make mistakes. We still do things wrong. We still work on it. We still go to counseling. Like, we do all these things, right? But I think that's part of it, is that, like, we learn.
Yeah, I would say the last thing that for me is, like, to that point is, at some level, too, we just have made that decision.
Yeah.
That, like, this is it. It's you and I. And I think that it, like from a faith standpoint, it would be called like this covenant idea. Like we're making this covenant commitment to each other. And I just think that is such a key component of this, of just like, I think for the both of us, we just say like, no, there's no other option. Like this is it. And we'll work through anything and everything.
Well, but that's where I think that love for me personally, and this may be different for other people out there, love for me is a feeling and a choice. Mm-hmm. There have been times, like when we first met each other, like different moments throughout our relationship, where those butterflies just go. But I don't think the butterflies always stay.
No, I think love, the longer we're married, we find, at least I think for me, if we were to weigh it out, it's way more a choice than it is a feeling.
Yeah. There's some days where I just don't like you.
I think you usually like me though.
I usually like you. No, but I think though that when you go based on a feeling, like our feelings change all the time.
No.
So there have been seasons where I feel completely head over heels, like romantic love for you. And there's been seasons where like we're struggling, like when Luke had his health issues, where I didn't feel head over heels for you. Honestly, I didn't have time for that.
No.
But I felt this deep friendship with you.
Yeah.
And I think like, I don't regret that. That was a really important thing. That was what I needed in that time. And that's what we both needed at that moment, right? Like we weren't going out on dates and doing these things. Like we were loving each other the best that we could.
Yeah.
And we were there for each other.
100%.
And I think that there's so many different like facets to our relationship. Like you were saying, like, we have a friendship, we have like a romantic love, like, and we have all these pieces. And I think that, yeah, like we've made the choice to do that. And that's where it comes to like, you're going to change. You're not the man that I married. right? Like we've changed and we've matured and we've grown and
we've learned to love the people that we're becoming, that we're growing into.
Yeah. Well, and it's like we fall in love with each other over and over again. And
Yeah.
I will say, like, I think my last thing is one piece that's been very important to me is that we honor each other's boundaries. And I kind of touched on it when I said family, but like there's certain things.
Can you stop hitting me though? Because that's
Probably
a boundary.
not. I might just need to. I just like to just smack you around.
Dude, we went on a walk yesterday. You hit me 7 times.
Not like hard. I'm not punching. You make it sound like I'm actually hurting you. I like smack his arm when we're talking. I'm like one of those, like when I like get into the mood, not into the mood. That's not what I meant. When I get into like our like laughing and joking, like I'll smack his arm. And he's like, ah. I'm like, oh, sorry. I don't think about it. Just do it. That's just what happens. No, but as far as boundaries though, I think, I don't know. Like, I'm trying to think if I can say this. I'm just gonna say it. One thing for me is that I don't want you to be a pastor at a church. Is that fair? Is that true?
Yeah. It
is. Well, is that a boundary that we've made together though? Mm-hmm. Is that fair?
Yeah.
You don't want to talk about this?
No, it's fun.
Oh, I think that, I don't know, like for me, like when we first got together, we did a lot of ministry together, like a lot. And for me, there's certain level of weight and I think responsibility as a pastor's wife. And I had done it for a while.
For a long time.
For a very long time. And I don't know, like for me, like it got to a point where like I just wasn't thriving in that zone. And so we talked about it and he was like, okay, like what are your needs here? And that could change in the future. Like, I don't know, but for right now, like that is one of my boundaries that like, hey, can we not do this capacity together? Because I want, like, so for me, like we don't work together. Like we do this, which is fun and I love this.
Yeah, but this is not working together. This is me working for you.
Oh, I love that. I like that a lot. But no, you do ministry and then I do social media and I love that. Like I love that we have like our own independent things. Mm-hmm. And honestly, like when it's like a pastor to pastor's wife, it is more working together. And I think for us, I was like, hey, like that just doesn't feel healthy for me right now. No. And you didn't judge me for that. You didn't shame me for that. Like you loved me through that. You said, okay, sounds great. Like we talked about it. Like we worked through together. Like, is there anything else that we need to do? Can we have like, anything else here to make this work? And we both just decided like, no.
But I think the byproduct of that is that your boundary in that sense actually helped hone in the things that I love to do. Because at the end of the day, like I actually don't really enjoy that. Like that's something that I enjoy. Like I found other parts of that, the teaching, the speaking, the writing, the traveling, and
researching.
The research. So it's like, wait a minute, I get to do something. In some senses, I was able to create something that wasn't just this like normal. Because before it's like very cookie cutter. Like it has to be like, these are the roles and this is how you have to do it. And for me, this was honestly like encouraged me to find the thing that I'm really passionate about. And so I still do like participate and I work with them. Some of my closest friends are pastors, but it wasn't
me telling you, you can't go do the things that you love.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because that is your heart and that is your passion.
Yeah. Because if it's like, felt like I needed to do that, then we'd talk about that. Yeah. But that was honestly, it was one of the things like, oh yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. Well, I think it is this tension, this pull of our personal needs and our needs together. And we will always ultimately do what is best for us as a family and for us as like a couple, but that includes our individual needs too. Yeah. And so, but I would love to hear from you guys too. Like those of you guys that have seen really beautiful and healthy marriages, those of you guys that are married yourselves, like what are some of those things that you feel like help people to just have these beautiful relationships? Because honestly, we didn't have like at the time when we got married, like we didn't have like handfuls and handfuls and handfuls of marriages to look up to. We had like a few.
Yeah.
Right. And so for us, like we've had to learn and it's from people around us.
Yeah.
And so hopefully you guys have that too. And we would love to hear from you guys. But all right, Joel, I kind of like doing this with you. It's kind of fun.
I'm glad.
Do you like me still?
Sure.
Anyways, all right, guys, we'll see you guys later.
Later.
Bye.